are prepared to break the silence. I'll be out in the sunshine, running beside the lions. I've been feeling down, but I've been looking up, afraid to fall. God, I've been so down, can you pick me up? Don't let me fall. Can you show me how to fix this mess? I am down and on my knees and I may fall as I'm so close to the edge.
Hello and welcome back to Turf Moor House TV. Thank you very much for tuning in. I mean, let's talk about Saturday's game first. Let's get that out of the way. Conceding again very late on against Cardiff. I mean, they were always going to have that little sense of optimism, wasn't there? They've recently sacked their manager. It's a case of going out there with a point to prove. And to be fair, it's a few times now that we've conceded late on. West Brom and then being 3-0 up against Blackpool and it drawing 3-3. Shit happens. The Championship is a very tough league, and we know all about that well. And especially Elliot, who's going to come in from the opposition, he knows just how hard the Championship is, especially after recent events. Thank you very much for everybody who is listening to us on the podcast platforms. As I say, I do not shout it out often enough, but you will be able to find this on the podcast platforms as well at the end. So if you are listening, then really do appreciate it, and you know where to find us. All the usual: Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. You can find us on there, and this will be on there either late this evening or by tomorrow. So do look out for that. You can also find us on social media. We are on lots of socials, as I say, everything but OnlyFans, and this is where you can find us. And here he is, the man, the myth, the legend that is Elliot Yates, Stoke City mad. How are you doing?
Well, I mean, it could be better, but we'll probably get onto that soon. But yeah, just really happy to be on the show. Thanks for the invite and looking forward to it.
No, anytime. Appreciate it, giving up your time on a Monday as well, especially after obviously this weekend's result. First and foremost, let people know a little bit about yourself and your channel. Give it a plug.
Right, so I'm Elliot. I run the TheBearPitTV fan channel. It's the Stoke City fan channel, sort of biggest Stoke City fan channel out there on the YouTube side. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So I do all the stuff for that. I do a little bit of podcast work myself with a little podcast called the Delilah Debate, which is another Stoke fan channel that we're sort of trying to push. It's more about like sort of trying to interview players and things like that. But I'm just on the sort of Stoke City side, and yeah, worked a little bit at BBC Radio Stoke here and there as well. But yes, did a little bit more on the Stoke content side.
Oh, happy days. The link to the Twitter page and to the YouTube channel is in the description of this video as well. So please do go and check that out. Drop a sub and obviously give Elliot's TheBearPitTV Twitter page a follow as well if you can. A couple of comments to begin with then. Dan from Barrel on Tour is in. From one Dan to the other, hope you are well. True Red's in. Luke, he says, big up to yourself. This will cheer me up for sure. Well, I'm sure it will. As I saw the score at half-time against Leicester, I bet you are not a happy man. Ryan's in. Man like Ryan's in the Hizzles. Huddersfield Town Fan TV. Go check that out as well. Wonderful channel. Hope you are well, sir. Coach's Corner is in as well. He says, come on, Burnley, please win. I hope so. I hope so. But this is going to be a very, very interesting game, to be honest with you. Matt's in as well and says a massive hey. So a massive hey to yourself as well. If I could just ask everybody as well, before we get into the gist of the video, please do smash a like on this video. Absolutely, please do. If you're new and you haven't subbed already, then what are you doing? It's free. Just hit that little button and subscribe. It means the world. So would appreciate it all. And if you want to be notified of when we next go live, then be my guest. Hit that notification bell. It all helps with the YouTube algorithm. So thank you very much. Martin's in saying, hi, guys. How's it going? Up the Clarets. Roll on next game. Burnley Stoke. Yeah. It's going to be a good one. Going to be a good one. But yeah, hope you're well, Martin. Coach's Corner says, reckon a draw. I mean, before a ball's kicked, I think we probably both take it. But it is what it's one of those. It's still to be seen. Ryan says, big up Daniel Legend. Thank you very much. Big up to your fan self. Hope you are well. Ian's in. See, Vincent Kompany takes the Burnley job and the City fans come crawling. Love it. To be fair, good win for you guys against Manchester United. Cracking result, but hope you're well, Ian. And yeah, hope you've had a brilliant day. Martin says, all well, mate. Cheers. All is good in the hood. And Matt says, I'll go on YouTube shortly. Haha, big up, Dan. No problem. You do it in your own time. You do it in your own time, mate. Right. Let's address the elephant in the room, Elliot. Stoke 0, Watford 4. We'll get that out the way, and then we can park it. I mean, how did you see that game? Because looking at it from the outside, it was just one of those shockers.
Yeah, there's no other word you could say other than just shocking. It was. I mean, if you're really going to analyse it down and go deep into it, if you look at Watford's front three, if you look at our defence, we have a League One back line, I'd say. Aidan Flint, I think, would be the best player, like defender in the Championship, in League One. But in the Championship, whenever he's on the halfway line, he can't catch people up. So if you have a fast forward playing against him, it will be just a piece of cake, really, for you. Best same with Morgan Fox. They're just League One quality, those defenders, and they cut us apart through the defence. And Watford, I didn't realise this, they are so fast. Like breaking away, they are so quick, and our defence couldn't keep up with them. We had a little period sort of towards end of the second half to the beginning of sort of the second half, and then we sort of seemed like really good and seemed like we could maybe grab a goal here. I mean, our strikers aren't getting service, which isn't great. And you've got people like Delap, Gale, Brown, Campbell, 4 goals combined.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's not really good. It's not really good enough for players of that quality to not be getting the goals, and that's probably more down to the service they're getting rather than what they are as strikers themselves, because we know what they can do when they get the service. Delap's having to create everything himself. It's not really worked for him. It's like I said, we seem to be too nice. I think that's the best way I would describe our team at the moment. When you look back at Stoke and you think of sort of hard grits, there's not really a lot of that going on. Under O'Neill, we played like we were too nice. I think that was the sort of culture. Alex Neil's come in and said, right, we need more intensity, we need more hard grit, and they're still kind of just being too nice. It's not that I don't think they're bad lads or bad eggs in the dressing room. I just think that they're just too nice and sometimes just don't want the fight when they need it. We gave up after the second goal, and I think that just almost shows.
No, it can. I like to say, we said off camera that there's being nice and then there's being too nice, and sometimes you do have to bite the bullet and be a bit of an horrible bastard at times. But it's one of those things that if that's going to be a key factor of how your season goes, do you think that result was just a blip, or is that something that sort of the first handful of games it's sort of been coming?
I don't think it's anything we really expected. I went into the game not knowing what to expect. It's not as if I thought, oh, Watford, they're going to batter us here. I didn't expect that at all. I thought, it's Bilic's first game. We've not seen a lot of Watford under Bilic. It was one of those where you're just kind of thinking anything could happen here. Stoke could do really well. We'd got a 3-0 win against Hull, which was a great result. Played really well in that, and then a draw to QPR away from home, and it was a 0-0 draw. At least we kept a clean sheet, and even Flint looked solid, which I criticised him before, but he looked solid.
What?
And Flint looked solid. I criticised him before, but he did look solid. And you go into that game thinking, well, back of the clean sheet, back of a great win. Watford have turned up. Let's go at them, and then all of a sudden you don't really get into a rhythm of things, even at home, and it's just we're so inconsistent. It's frustrating me, and that's the best way we can describe us. Just too nice and too inconsistent, and I don't think the manager's the problem because it's something he's inherited. It's maybe just not getting on side of that what he wants so far.
I mean, like you say, Alex Neil's come in. He's still yet to really put his stamp on and his methods and get them playing the way that he potentially wants them to play. Do you think that success will come off the back of that, or is it a case that the board need to give Alex Neil time?
Well, I think Alex Neil's one of those managers that comes in and just gets you playing straight away, but I think he's had a lot of great characters. Like at Norwich, he came in and they had the likes of, because I spoke to a guy who does the Norwich channel, a guy called Chris Reeve, and he said that he had a lot of great characters, the likes of people like Bradley Johnson. I think he had a few others like Johnny Howson and people like that who he could rely on to actually get the dressing room on side. And Stoke, I don't have a lot of those, like you think back to the Shawcrosses, the Hooths, Glenn Whelans, Jonathan Walters, but we don't. I can name a few in there, but I can't really name a lot that you would go, yeah, he's a standout character who'd run through a brick wall for you. I can't, and it's annoying for me because I can't really name people like that at the moment, it's heartbreaking to be honest with you. But I think that's just the case. He just seems to. I think he's made a positive impact so far in that we're pressing more, and that's good. And we're not doing this thing of play. You said off camera that Burnley are a team that's kind of playing out from the back at the moment. It's a bit weird to watch. But we played out from the back, and the problem under O'Neill, and the problem was that we played out of the back. The teams who play out from the back, and they play fast. And then they'll go from your midfielder and they'll go to a wing back or a winger and then a striker. And then all of a sudden you've got a chance. What we used to do is we used to get the ball to the centre back and then they would pass it sideways and then forwards and then backwards and then sideways and then back to the goalkeeper and then forward again and then back. That's how we used to build up from the back. And it's not an effective way of building up from the back because as soon as you get pressure on you, you make mistakes. And that's exactly what happened to us. We had like a leaky defence, and we still do, which is a worrying factor going into a game like Burnley. We've had Watford just now, we've got Burnley, and then we've got Sheffield United. They're going to be 3 really tough games, which we've just found out against Watford. So it's not as if we're going into this game with a great bit of confidence now, thinking we're going to get into Burnley and do some stuff here, because I know Burnley have got a solid defence. Taylor Harwood-Bellis, I know very well from that. Solid attack in people like Twine, who are like unbelievable in League One.
We're still yet to see what he's capable of. He's not had any game. He's had about 15 minutes against Huddersfield on the opening day, and we've not seen anything of him since.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe not sort of Twine, but I know that Burnley have still got a pretty decent attack for this level. And it's, like I said, it's just frustrating because I don't know where a goal's coming from because we're not supplying our strikers. And then we have a leaky defence. We're not trying to play out from the back, but we look a bit more intense and then just give up. It's very inconsistent.
No, it's like you say. We said off camera. We've been known very much as two sides that play dinosaur football, old age football. Long ball. The stuff that, as you said, the Premier League didn't want us around because we weren't playing the fancy stuff that they wanted people to see. But is there still a sense of that at Stoke, or is that completely gone?
I think there's more of an expectation at Stoke now than there is before. When we were in this position before, I don't think there was any expectation for Stoke to play in the Premier League. It was before my time, but well, before I started supporting them. But from what I can gather from other people, they would basically say they never expected Stoke to play a minute of Premier League football in their lifetime. So now all of a sudden there's this expectation to get back into the Premier League with no money, pretty much, because we have an FFP problem in that we can't spend anything. And now there's just sort of more expectation. You can't put any funding into it, which is the frustrating part. And then if there's no funding going into it, then there's not really there's not really much you can do. We've got wages on our side, I suppose, so that always helps. But then you're always picking up a pool of players who are loans or free agents, and then there's not really a long-term vision from that because all the loan players will be going off now to their various clubs, and now we're down an extra probably thought of 10 players and have to rebuild again. And it's not a long-term thing to do that. And I think that's more of an EFL problem than it is a Stoke problem. But it's
no, I agree with you.
It's frustrating, really, because how are we meant to get back up to those standards when we have probably the richest owners in the league and we can't spend anything?
It's like you say, it does seem like it's more of an EFL matter than it is, a Stoke matter, as you say. Transfer wise, you said as well, the wage bill's quite healthy. Happy with your recruitment in the summer?
Yeah, few people I'm happy with. I like the signings of people like Smallbone. I like the signings of people like Laurent. I think he's a good player. Delap obviously is a standout, as well as Gale. They're both two really good players, although we get to see a lot of goals. All it needs is for either one of them is just for one to go in off their arse and then they're firing. That's all it needs to take because they're just not getting the luck at the moment. But I like those signings. I think people like maybe Aidan Flint's the one that I'm battering him at the moment, but I think that's one where I question because he is good, but I don't think he's that sort of modern day footballer who can. If we were in a 3, he's not quick enough to play in it. It's sort of like the same problem that Manchester United had with Harry Maguire. At Leicester, he just used to stand on the edge of his box and head stuff away and go for corners, and that's great. But then when you come to a side like Stoke, who effectively want to play a back 3, which we wanted to do under O'Neill, and play on the halfway line, then he's not going to be able to do anything. I think you look at a stat, and I think he scored 15 in the season at Bristol City because he was massive in the box. But then at the same time, whenever we put a corner in, he doesn't seem to actually head it towards goal. He just tries to head it down, but it's not going to work with some of the people that are in the Championship, particularly at Watford, because their guys were about 6'4". So if you're heading it down, then they're just going to put it straight back out again. It just wasn't going to work. We kept getting excited for a corner, and my dad just said to me, well, what are we getting excited for? All it is just going to go into the box and they'll just head it away. So if you've got a guy like that in the box and you're thinking that, and like I said, Stoke before, when we were in the Premier League, we had a corner and the stadium would rock because up comes Crouch, Shawcross, Huth, and Nzonzi, like Jurassic Park in the box almost. And now it's just, let's lump it into Aidan Flint, and he doesn't do anything with it. So that's the one sort of recruitment where I go, that's a bit weird, that. And then maybe past years, but then I can sort of give the club a bit of leniency for that because you're effectively looking at what's out there because of the financial situation rather than, right, we're going to go straight back up by getting this player, this player, this player, this player. You can't do that. So you can do that if you're Man United. You can't do it when you're Stoke.
No. It's I can see it in your face, the frustration of watching Stoke at the moment. It's more of it seems more of a task than an enjoyable experience. Do you see the good times coming back anytime soon? I mean, do you see little hints of it during matches that you think, hold on, we've got enough here to potentially not be in the mire come the end of the season?
Not this season. Past seasons, maybe in the Championship before, we had a really good run at the start of the season. That was always in the last 2 seasons. So the one just gone and the one before, we had a great start in both of them, really good start. And then you think, oh, we could get into the playoffs here, and then the season, and then we just slipped down. With to be fair, it was due to injuries. We basically played our academy on the bench because of how bad our injuries were. So it wasn't like I could go, oh, well, that was poor performances here. It was more just like a bad luck than anything else. So you can give them a bit of leniency for that. Give the manager a bit of leniency for that as well. Next season comes, we make a great start. We're second in October, and you're thinking, oh my God, we could actually get playoffs minimum here. And then effectively what happened was that us and Forest had effectively swapped places. So we played Forest when they were under Houghton, and if you were to say one of these teams will go up into the Premier League, we would have gone, we're going to be a Premier League team next year. That's how good we were playing. And then all of a sudden, teams just found out, well, if you just play Stoke from when they're passing out the back and then just go on the edge of their own box, they'll crumble because of the pressure. And then that happened. We were 3-0 up against Cardiff, drew 3-3 in a matter of 3 minutes. Complete demolition. And then we just seem to be having games where we just kept capitulating, and then eventually finished 14th. And then you kind of just feel... So there's a lot of things where I've gone, yeah, Stoke could be a Premier League side here with this team. Players like Brown, players like Josh Tyman easily could be Premier League players, I think. Additions like Lewis Baker, maybe that wasn't that time. He sort of come in towards the latter stages. But those sort of players and performances, Harry Souttar's another one where you can go, we've got a chance here. But then for some reason, after Christmas or sort of like November time, we just seem to decline down the table. And I don't know why that is. So I've seen signs that we can do it. I've not seen many signs under Alex Neil, but bearing in mind he has only been here for a month. So it's not like you can have a lot to choose from there. But so I've seen signs under O'Neill and with this team that we could get back there, but I don't want to get my hopes up for that anymore because I don't think that's great for me at the moment, because every year I've gone, we're going to go up. Okay, we might get in the playoffs, and then now I'm just like, we're not going to go. We're just like, I'd be happy finishing 10th, to be honest with you now. It's got to that point where I'd just rather sort of not think about the promotion and just not get my hopes up for it like maybe a lot of people have done.
No, it's easy to do. It's easy to do. I totally understand where you're coming from. Would you say some people lay blame at the board's feet at Stoke?
Yeah, some people do. I think the board get a bit of bad flack sometimes, but because I think they're great owners in the way that they sort of treat the players and treat the staff and whatnot. I think they're really good owners. It's not like if you'd have given me, we're very lucky, I think, with the owners we have, and I don't think our fans realise it. We could have an owner like the Oystons, or we could have an owner like Mel Morris, and I don't think they really sort of realise that, where they go, oh, I'll just get them out of the club and all of this, they're ruining us. And the actual fact, if we were to get them out of the club and then get someone in like, I mean, we're not going to get Mel Morris, but a Mel Morris type of person, they'd be going, oh, well, we should never have got rid of Coates. And so I do think they're good owners, but they would invest if they could. That's the problem. They can invest in a great training facility. They can invest in a great academy. They can invest in, well, academy is a Category 1 academy. They can invest in sort of pitches for the women's team. They can do all of this stuff off the pitch. And then when it comes to on the pitch, not spend anything. We have to sell to buy. That's the way it works.
Yeah, FFP is a bit of a shitter, isn't it? Pardon me. It's frustrating, as you said, you know, with Stoke where they are at the moment, 17th. You said obviously that the loss going forward, do you see that loss against Watford being almost like now that might have been a bit of a wake up call?
Well, I hope so. I think Reading should have been a wake up call anyway, because we didn't play very well there. We lost 2-1 and we played horrendously. I think with what Alex Neil's come out and said, I'm actually happy with what he's come out and said, because a lot of the time we've had managers. So Stoke fans, they don't like BS. They want it told how it is. Probably similar to maybe Burnley or something under Sean Dyche. It would just be straight, simple, you know, like that. We're gonna say it. We're gonna say it short and simple, but this is how it is. Under O'Neill, it was very much sort of, yeah, well, we've got to, you know, get back into training pitch. It was almost like the same press conference every game in that last season he had. Whereas under Alex Neil, he's effectively gone, what do you think of that crap? What did you make of like the performance of the players? Well, do you want to either get your belly tickled, or do you want to roll your sleeves up and fight and stuff like that? And that's where I've gone, yeah, I like that a lot. So it's not, hopefully he gets into the players and says, this is not going to be the way it is anymore, like it was under Michael. You're not you're going to be a bunch of bastards. Like I'm thinking about that Mourinho. Do you remember? Have you ever watched the Tottenham All or Nothing
Yeah.
documentary? Mourinho, you have to be a bunch of. that's what we need. That's what we need as a club right now to be told to the players, because I don't think they can really get that in their heads that they're not. They're not a bunch of bastards, but they need to be.
No, that's fair shout. Fox is in the chat. Newcastle fan says, "How's Gale done since he left us? Really surprised to see 0 goals. Thought it was still good enough for the Championship."
Gale has probably had about the record for the number of goals offside in a season. It's ridiculous. So Gale is not. It's not that he's not good enough for the level. It's more or less whenever players put on a Stoke shirt, they just don't perform because there's a curse on our football club. Essentially, that's the only reason I think for Gale's sake. He's not getting chances. Last game he didn't really get much at all. He kind of had to feed off of scraps really, which isn't his fault. So I think that's more the reason why he's not performing well, not the fact that he's not playing well, because I think Gale's been one of our brightest sparks, and it's the same thing with the lap. Once one goes in off his arse, then he'll get a hatful. He just needs one to go in for him, and then he'll be absolutely fine. So, same with Gale. Just needs one to go in for him. He'll be fine. It's not as if you look at that stat and you go, "Oh, he should be doing better than that." Probably should be, but other factors haven't helped him as well. Bad officiating decisions and just lack of service, really.
No, it's like that. To be fair, a lot of people were saying, Newcastle fans were saying to us when we went down, because obviously we had all the questions of, "Oh, you're in the shit because now you've got a 60-odd million pound loan that you're going to have to pay off fully." And to be fair, I think everybody don't get me wrong, as a fan, I panicked a little bit because I was like, shit, what happens here? All our big players are going to go. Where do we go from this? And the recruitment side of things has been brilliant. We've managed to still work within our means. We've managed to sell 70-odd million pounds worth of talent and spend less than 20 million on 17 players. And it's just like the fact that we've brought these all in from foreign markets as well, where we'd be lucky to see if there's someone still wearing a jumper on Burnley market at once a game. To be honest, we don't look any further than the end of our noses. So to do that and get all that, it was like, wow, like this is going to be different. And obviously we're still adapting. This is probably why we're drawing more than, and we're with you. Our only loss this season, to be fair, was against Watford. And I know what you mean when you say how fast they were, how they, get on the front foot. You make a mistake and they will just pounce in there and be like, right, that's it. We're going to make you work to try and get this back. Look, what for you, apart from Aidan Flint, is the main problem? I understand the scoring goals; that will come, but where for you, other than Aidan Flint, is where the problems are occurring?
I think there's a big shout to say that recruitment's been a problem, but it's not as if that I blame the stats for being the sole reason, because we should be doing better with the recruitment that we've had. If you look at our recruitment, you think that's fairly decent. Delap, Gale, Smallbone, who's a lot of Southampton fans say is arguably too good for the division. So I don't know if it's a lack of. I don't really know what the problem is, which is annoying me, because I think I should do. And like I said about being maybe too nice, maybe it's not the fact that we've signed a player that's gone, well, he's not good enough for this division, or they can't fit well together. It might just be to do with the fact that we've signed players, and I think Sean Dyche, and we would know this as Stoke and Burnley fans, but when Tony Peters would sign a player, it'll be, okay, well, he's a good player, but we'll phone him up to see, is he a good lad? Can we fit him into what we want to do with our changing room, maybe, or something like that? And it may be a little bit a case of that as well, like just sort of players not fit. I'm not inside the club, so I wouldn't know what's going on. I'm just kind of thinking on the outside here, but it's just hard to pinpoint one particular issue that's going on at the club. Like I said, 2-0 up and gave up. It's 2-0 down, and gave up. It's not acceptable really for any club to do that. And I think maybe it's just having the wrong type of characters in amongst each other. Maybe That's why I mean, you can see on my face I'm frustrated because I don't really know what the problem is. I said in my video, we have a great team on paper. Why aren't we doing better? It's
No,
just true.
it's true. You know, everything you said. I think Stokey Sai, I'm guessing so. Said Flint's a liability. Exactly similar to what you said.
Sooner that Harry Suter comes back in, the better.
I was going to say Harry Suter was such a strange signing because when he went to you, I thought, was he the player? He was in the Scottish leagues, weren't he?
Well, yeah, he came to us when he was a very young kid, like 16 or something. But I think there was Sport Bab did an article on him because he was the same size as Crouch, so they put 2 and 2 together.
I'm sure we were a wonder kid on FM. I'm sure we were a wonder kid on FM at one point. Either him or John Suter that were.
Yeah, it's his brother. Yeah.
But when you signed him, I was like, wow, like, this is a guy who's going to get good. Especially when I've always been one of those that sort of looked at FM and used it as, if he turns out half as good as what he does on FM, then he'll be all right. But yeah, he's a cracking little player. Is he out injured at the moment?
Yeah, well, he's been out injured since last season, probably like November last season. I'm pretty sure because he did his cruise ship for Australia, and it's like that didn't help our season at all. There's players in there where you go, yeah, Suter's headed that away. Only really Harry could make that tackle, and now we're not getting those anymore. We've signed Jagielka. It's more just for a bit of experience, really. I think it may have been the wrong signing in a way because he's not that big physical presence that's gonna win you headers. He's not that.
Do you think it's more of a voice in the dressing room as well, or?
I mean, yeah, I think it may be more of a point in the dressing room, but like from what I've gathered from like some lads who are in there, they're like, oh, we get along really well. We just kind of know it's not really clicking for us sort of on the pitch and stuff. But I mean, I hope it turns out okay because, like I said, if it was under O'Neill, I'd basically just go, yeah, this is the same old. Because it's Alex Neil, I'm kind of thinking, well, it's a different head, it's a different approach, it's a different style idea. Maybe he's going to get more into the heads of these players. They need to be nastier. It's one of those where there could be a lot of solutions to a number of problems, but then actually pinpointing what the main problem is and then focusing on that. Well, the fact when we've conceded the first goal in our last 24 matches, we've lost 17. So that kind of either shows you your head's gone down. We've won one of those, by the way. Your head's gone down, and then you just not. I mean, I don't want to say give up because I can see some of them are trying, but it's just like your head's gone down. You can't really recover from that point once you've been hit. And now it needs to change. That style needs to change of going, right, we're a goal down. We're going to hit them even harder now. And Stoke haven't done that.
No, I bet it's very frustrating. A couple of comments. Then Gates is in, says, good evening, Dan. Hope you are well. All is good in the hood, brother. Hope you are well. Cracking channel, Fortune my end. Please do go check them out. If anybody is wearing claret and blue and in the Premier League, and this season since we're not in it, West Ham get my vote over Villa. So to be fair, and I keep an eye on Cornet, to be honest with you. But hope you all get it. And if hope Duke's well as well, if he's about and listening. Kate says she's been productive. She did a tip run. Yes, we did. She's literally behind the camera, but
hello.
But yeah, we did a tip run, and yeah, she cleaned the backyard. I've been Cinderella in the kitchen this afternoon. I've cooked, cleaned, just literally. Except I don't get to go to any ball at the end of it. So yeah, who's the one laughing? Matt says awesome. Henry says I've done the laundry and shop today. Brill stuff. Yeah, you do. I'm running out of boxers. By the way, people who are listening on the podcast, she said she needs to do the laundry. Henry says cool, and Foxy says get Maddison to the World Cup. 2 goals, 1 assist tonight. Wow. Like I say, it'll be a struggle because if with Southgate in charge, it's almost like Maddison's got nudes that Southgate doesn't want leaked. It's absolute madness. Maddison not getting called up. Owen says, you going on Wednesday, pal? I am indeed. I will be on the game. I will be there. Looking forward to it. Are you Are you coming over for the game, or with being at
No,
uni, is it a bit
not.
struggle?
Unfortunately not. So I'm at uni. I've got a lecture going on, which is it's got to come first, but it's a bit annoying, really. So no, unfortunately not. I'll catch into it, obviously, but
Well,
I know
it's on
like
Sky, isn't it? I think it's on Red Button.
well, it's Wednesday, so it may be on Sky. That's what I'm thinking. So it's
Yeah, I think Sky Sports Football have got a Red Button thing, so you can go through any of the Championship game on Wednesday, apparently.
Oh, that's good. Okay, that's cool. But I'm also on a student budget as well, so
Yeah.
it's not just silly.
Now, to be fair, if I didn't do the cooking and cleaning earlier, I'd have been in the same boat, mate. I'd have been getting a lecture, so don't worry about it. I just got the middle finger. Brilliant. See, I'm loved. I'm loved. Henry says Southgate will do what Southgate wants. Waistcoat calling needs Southgate. His morals have gone. Yeah, it has. Yes, the cricket club is still very much open. It's good for away fans. Is the cricket club? I think it's like old school. The thing is, I look at it at Burnley and I'm like, right, it's a shithole, but it's our shithole.
Yeah. That's
But then
the only one.
I'll try and look at it from like your side of things, like the opposition fan coming. It's almost like stepping back like 10, 15 years in time.
Well, yeah, I went to a game there, and when I was quite young, and one of the things that stood out to me was that before the match, we watched a game of cricket. But like because it's a football fan running the game of cricket, it's not going to be your average sort of cricket thing. So it's I just thought it was hilarious that just watching a game of cricket before you're watching a game of football. That's the one thing I can really remember from Turf Moor. I can't remember the game actually. It must have been a 0-0 if I can't remember it, but.
No, it's very much still open. I don't know how. To be fair, probably the away fans that come and get tanked up prior to the game is probably the reason why it's still going. But Kate says he says it like he plays Cinderella every day. All I can say is about bloody time. Yeah, well, you would say that. Anyway, that said, Danger Men. Let's talk about Danger Men. Who should Burnley be a bit wary of come Wednesday night? Who's been your sort of focal point in a threat?
Baker, without doubt. He's been our best player so far this season. He's our captain. He's been here less than a year, and he's already our captain. So that kind of just shows what sort of presence he has on the pitch. And I'd say he'd be the one to watch out for. He makes things happen when you're kind of thinking, oh, we're playing really badly here. Then Baker's probably the man you look for, really. And like I said, Baker's the main one, but if you get in service to Delap, if you get in service to Gale, then they could be danger men. They've not really shown it as of yet so far. They've shown little glimpses here and there, but they could be your danger men if you play in that sort of way that with Stoke, where you're feeding them in. Because, like I said to you before, it just needs one to go off on his arse, and then he'll be flying. They'll get 20 goals between them probably. That's what I thought at the start of the season, and yeah, it's frustrating. If Josh Tyman plays, I think he's out injured at the moment, but he played against Hull and he hasn't played since. He probably aggravated it, but he'd be a danger I'd watch out for. He's definitely like Premier League quality, I would say. So wow. Josh Tyman's up there because he would frighten you down that left side, and that's what we're missing at the moment. Those crosses into the box, those chances, just going forward and trying to make things happen. Josh does all of that for us. We've kind of missed that a little bit with some players that have maybe left the club, like Romain Sawyers. I think we probably should have signed him permanently, even if he is 31, because he just made stuff happen. For all his case of not maybe tracking back or tracking his man, he used to always make stuff happen going forward, and we kind of lost a little bit of that spark. So, yeah, like I said, just the forwards would be the main ones, as well as players like Baker. I do rate Smallbone as well, but I don't think he had a great game last game. He didn't really show that quality that he did maybe sort of like the start of the season, where his passing was really crisp and he was getting it out wide and sort of creating things, making things happen. But I don't think he'll play because I think he had such a shocker last game, like most people did. So it wasn't just him, but I think that he would not get a game. So I don't think there's anything to worry about there. But the main four, I would say, is Baker, Delap, Gale, and if he plays, hopefully he plays, Josh Tyman.
And who are you not looking forward to facing? Because I mean, Henry mentioned it earlier. Nathan Teller is in fine form, the man on loan from Southampton.
Yeah.
He's been phenomenal, just completely. I have made that mistake of falling in love with a loan player, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I mean, he's just been class. But for you, who are you not looking forward to coming up against?
Like you just mentioned, the man there, Teller. He's I reckon because of his like fast burst of pace, that's going to really worry us with the backline that we have. Like I mentioned about Watford, as soon as if you put him on Flint or something, get him to just attack him, then I think he's going to get a hatful. Personally, I think you don't put him. I wouldn't put him on Wilmot because I think Wilmot would deal with him better than maybe Flint would. Wilmot's had the most interceptions in the league so far this year, which speaks more about how badly we're getting cut apart, I think, but shows that he's maybe got that sort of I've got the word in my head. He's got that sort of nous in defence and probably the best of that three, essentially. I have this worrying feeling that Howard Bellis is going to score because I loved him at Stoke when he was a lone player there. So it just seems it's just one of those things that because it's your club, you'll go, oh, that's classic Stoke or that's classic Burnley that this has happened to us. But I think I'm worried about facing him because I feel like I said, those strikers being out of form, I feel like he'd get into them really well, just sort of deal with them really well. He's got like a good centre back next to him. He'll play better because we found that when he was playing with Jagielka, he was a lot better because Jagielka would just be a lot more composed and say, almost just, calm down here. And then he'd be sound the rest of the game. So make one mistake sort of beginning of the game and then just everything rest of the game because of that reassurance from a big head. So like I said, I'm worried about him because I think he's going to keep us out, and that means Gale's not going to get his confidence up. Delap's not going to get his confidence up. So I'm worried about Taylor a lot. Maybe I'm trying to think of anyone but Taylor because he's the obvious one. So I'm trying to think more outside the box here. But I think, you've got to worry about him, haven't you? He keeps you up at night, those defenders, doesn't he?
He does. He does. To be fair, I'll give you a little bit more courage in the fact that Harwood Bellis was the one who didn't really track Callum Robinson for the equaliser against Cardiff. So if that gives you a sense of optimism a little bit that, catch him on an off day maybe, or it could be that I'm not going to do that again. And hopefully it's a sort of lace his boots up against the former club as well. It's definitely going to be one of those situations to look out for. But we'll speak about the game itself then. Alex Neil, I don't know, dodgy stomach, can't make it for the game, gives you a ring and says, I'm sending my assistant, but he hasn't a clue. You pick the team, Elliot. You pick my team and I'll forward it to him. Who is your starting 11 to start this game on Wednesday night?
Right, well, goalkeeper, I mean, it's a bit of a difficult one, really. We went from having probably one of the best three goalkeepers, and then in the space of 2 years, we've now got one of the worst choices of a three for goalkeepers. So I'd pick Bursic in goal still. I think even though he's conceded 4, it's weird because he makes mistakes, but then on the bench, you've got Jack Bonham, and he's League One quality, and that's all I think he'll ever be. That's his standard. So do you pick the goalkeeper who's the England under-21 goalkeeper who might make a mistake but will get better, or do you pick the lad who will always be a League One goalkeeper? You pick the England one, don't you?
Yeah,
so I'd pick him. Depends really if we're going to go for a back 3 or a back 4. I think we've probably learned after this game, don't play a back 3. So I would pick probably Clark's just come. No, actually, that's a lot. I picked Dujon Sterling, who's this lone lad from Chelsea. Seems pretty good. Seems pretty decent. I would pick Wilmot, and even though I've slated him all the time, I'm going to say Flint because I know he can be fairly sturdy in a back 4, like we saw at QPR. And this is another surprise. I'm going to pick Fox. Nothing. It's just because that's all we can do at left back. Nothing. It's not saying well done, Morgan. You've earned your place back into the team. It's more or less we're just stuck with you. And, so I pick a 3 in midfield. I'd go for Baker. I would go for Laurent, and I would go for who's another midfielder we could pick. We're lacking so much. If Powell's fit, I'll pick Nick Powell, but he's made of chocolate, that guy. So he probably won't play. But that would be someone who I would ideally like in that position. Winger, I'd pick Fosu. We've got this lad called Fosu from Brentford. Really good
Yeah,
player.
that
We've been
Tariq
playing.
Foster.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
Tariq Fosu. We've been playing him at right wing back, and he's not a right back or a right wing back. He is a natural right winger, or maybe even left winger if you cut him inside. I think he could do a job there. And I think he's interesting right wing as well. Left wing, right wing. It's just, do you pick maybe Gale all there just to sort of get his confidence up if you want him to get a goal, but he's out of position? Do you pick Delap on that sort of up front? He's kind of like try to balance the team in there. I think, I'll put Campbell on the right, put Fossil on the left, and then put Delap up front because it's going to come. I think the difference between Delap and Gale is that Delap creates opportunities for himself, whereas Gale almost needs somebody to give him an opportunity. So I think balancing that team out, I'd think that Delap would create far more opportunities for himself than maybe Gale would up front on his own, where he's kind of having to rely on other people to move forward. And if that doesn't work, then your plan B is you've got to create it yourself, and he doesn't really do that as much. So with Delap, if he gets opportunities, great. He's going to be fine with it. If he doesn't, then at least he's going to create some opportunities for himself, maybe play out wide to Campbell. Campbell cut inside, maybe shoot. I think Campbell's better at right winger than he is up front. And I think a lot of Stoke fans might agree with me on that. I've seen his best games at right wing, but then for some reason we've just got this habit of trying to play him up front. So that would be my team.
No, fair shout. Do you still have Sean Wright Phillips' son?
Yeah, DiMaggio. That was another one. There was kind of between like 50-50 in him. DiMaggio, I think, is a great little impact sub, I think. So that was kind of the thinking behind that, going, well, we could bring Campbell off for DiMaggio and he would create something. I love him. He's such a good little player.
He's a good little player. A really good little player.
He's more like his dad than he is his grandfather, I'd say. But but that's no disrespect to Sean Wright Phillips at all, because what a player he was. So yeah, just like you say, just tiny little lad, but so tricky. And you think for a little lad, you go, well, obviously he's not going to win a header. Massive jump, like Ronaldo-esque jump, really high. So little, for a little lad, he's got a leap on him. So I love him. He's a quality little player.
Yeah, fair shout. A couple of comments then. Carl says, just got back from football training. Hope you and your family are all good. Up the Clarets. Yeah, family's all well. Living the dream, mate. I mean, as can be. But yeah, hope you're well, mate. Hope football training went well. And as you said, UTC. Foxy says, not an easy position to play at such a young age for Harwood Bellis. Already had some good loans in his career. You see him having a future at Man City still, or too difficult? Difficult. The fact that they signed Akanji, and he literally had probably one of the best games he's had in a City shirt against Manchester United the other night. You've got Nathan Ake playing quite regular now as well, still in the mix. Harwood Bellis is going to be thinking my opportunities are limited, and I'm fed up of being sent from pillar to post. We could have got him at the perfect time where he's thinking, if I want a chance of potentially getting into the England first team or making a name for myself, I'm going to have to make a big choice here. So there is a good chance that teams will come sniffing, and I don't think he'll be at City for much longer.
I agree. I think there's also as well with City, there's that side to go. We found this with the Delap. They don't like loaning players out. They like keeping them in the same system like they've done with Foden. But a lot of players, they go, well, we see a future for that player here. Usually when they loan players out of City, it's sort of like an indication of going, well, we're thinking of selling you in a way. I think that's sort of like, so Harwood Bellis, I think, could move on.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, the deal with Muric, the deal that we've got with Muric is we've signed him permanently, but Man City said we saw something in him that if he basically becomes world class, we want a buyback clause. So there's clearly something there. Anthony says Flint was great for Bristol City. He was, and obviously Stoke are yet to see that. Hopefully they'll see the best of Aidan Flint at some point, potentially on Wednesday. It starts on Wednesday. Obviously, I know you'd hope for that. I hope he has the biggest stinker of his career. Emmy says, I agree, Anthony. Emmy's got to go, knackered, totally understand. Take it easy, good night, and thank you for popping in. Appreciate it, as always. Ducky says, Teller was brilliant on Saturday, but the rest were pretty average. Teller will hopefully bag a couple on Wednesday, but the rest of the lads need to step it up Wednesday night. They do. The players actually know that there wasn't a respectable level on Saturday against Cardiff. It was not a great performance, but we were, we nearly got the points out of it. I suppose sometimes that's the thing. You can have down days as a good team and still get a point. Not going to grumble. The Misty says he's always knackered, Anthony. What are you on about? I don't know what you mean. Nancy says, Campbell, not too bad. The son of ex-Arsenal player Kevin Campbell. Yeah, good little player. And Nancy says, busy man, Kate, he told me. Yeah, very, very busy. Very, very busy. Right then, the final one then, the prediction. Going to be a tough game. It's a Wednesday night under the lights. People say nobody wants a cold Tuesday night in Stoke, but when it comes to Burnley and Stoke, it's sort of we've both been tarnished with the same brush. So how do you see this one going, and are you expecting a lot better than that Watford game? Is this where the turnaround comes?
You'd hope so, because of what the manager said. He's effectively not throwing them under the bus, but, for you'll play Football Manager, just demand more. That's what he's effectively done. So I think if the players respond to that, I think then we'll see a lot more positive performance. I think we'll see a performance with more intensity that we shown in the last game, maybe a bit more sort of glimpses that we showed in those few moments that we had where we thought we could score. So I'm always positive in my predictions. I'm not like Mark Lawrenson, where I predict Liverpool to go on a 14-year unbeaten run. But I'm going to keep as positive as I can be, because we are inconsistent. I'm going to go 1-1. I'm going to say Teller to score for you, and then I'm going to go with Delap to get one off his arse.
No, that's a fair shout. That is a fair shout. David Prutton on Sky has gone for Burnley to win 1-0. That's his prediction for that one. I don't know what I'll go for. The thing is, we've drawn so many. We've only lost 1 in 11, which ain't too bad, but we've drawn a lot. I'd like to say being back at home and after that Cardiff game, we'd like to put in a really good performance. I'm going to say it's going to be difficult, though. I'm going to go 2-1. I'm going to go 2-1 Burnley. I just think maybe now that we're back at home, hopefully we'll get another win under the lights. But yeah, I suppose that is everything covered. Stoke obviously need that pick-me-up result after that. Get that belief back installed in that first 11. First and foremost, thank you, Elliot, for coming on. In fact, I tell a lie. I have a little game for you. It's called This or That.
This or that.
So this is basically, I'm just going to give you 2 options. You just have to give me one or the other, whichever you prefer.
Okay.
So I'll start off nice and easy. Facebook or Twitter?
Twitter.
Netflix or YouTube?
YouTube.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Shaqiri or Matthew Etherington?
Shaqiri was a better player, but I'll go Shaqiri. Not that I love you, Matty, but I'll go Shaqiri because he's a better player.
Fuller or Cresswell?
Oh, Fuller every day.
Fuller or Crouch?
I had more memories with Crouch, so I'll go with Crouch.
Fair shout. Jack Butland or Thomas Sorensen?
Ooh, that's a good shout, actually. I think Butland's the best keeper I've seen in that short period that he had at Stoke, where he was probably England's number 1, but he got injured against Germany. So I'd go Butland based on that reason.
Fair shout. And the big big question that I ask everybody. As I said, this is one of those that you can go from, the missus knows what's coming. You can go from just being Elliot to Elliot the Great or Elliot the Bellend with this one answer.
Right.
Anthony says Dan or Ed Sheeran. If Ed Sheeran had been in a car accident, I can understand, but maybe. Either way. And Kate says, "Be honest, Elliot." Just take Ducky's comment before I get to it. Think Stoke will make it difficult, but I will go 2-1 with Teller getting both. Also, the weather looks like it's going to be horrid on Wednesday night. Just like we both like it. And yeah, she's right. I won't say it to her face, but she's got a point. The big question is, does pineapple belong on a pizza?
No.
Elliot the Great is in the building. Get in. Get in. It's just you, Kate and Anthony. Bellends. Absolute bellends.
I pick mine off when I've ever got it. Pick that
off. Exactly. If someone says, "Oh, we're getting a pizza, what do you fancy?" "Oh, we'll just get something together," and they say Hawaiian, I'll just be like, But then even then you can still taste that like bit of
you can still taste the citrus stuff in it, can't you? It's not fan.
No, I'm glad you've gone up in my estimation. More than welcome on the channel again. Thank you very much indeed for coming on again. Thank you for giving up your time on a Monday evening, and let people know again where they can find you and your stuff.
Right, so we are the Bear Pit TV. We're the #1 Stoke City fan channel. You can find us on Facebook at TheBearPitTV. Find us on Twitter at TheBearPitTV as well. Instagram is like the initials, so it's TBPTV. And then we've just delved into TikTok actually as well. So Bear Pit TV on that as well. So got some exciting stuff coming up on there with like little sort of fan reactions and things like that. So yeah, just check us out on all those social platforms if you want to hear about Stoke. I mean, if you support Burnley, I don't blame you if you don't, but just check us out if you do.
No, that's fair enough. Fair enough indeed. All I've got to say is thank you very much again. The link to the Twitter page and to the YouTube page is in the description of this video, so please do go check it out. Also, if you're new around here, please do go and subscribe to the channel. It's free, costs nothing. Put your money away, shut that wallet, throw it to the side. You don't need it. It costs you zilch. So just click that subscription button. Let's get there to get 700 by Christmas at least. Let's get to that point. And I appreciate everybody who has shown their support. Everybody who's listening on the platform, podcast platforms as well. Then thank you very much for your support. As I say, this will be up and in your ears by either the end of tonight or this morning. And again, I've just got a little surprise for a few of you. You'll remember this guy. And we will remember this guy. Gifton Noel Williams set to have a chat with Gifton at some point. It was meant to happen this morning, but things change, plans change and stuff. The busy life of former footballers, that's all I'm going to say. But we will be having a chat with Gifton at some point, and it will be live on the channel for you all to watch. So I was hoping it'd be this morning so I could put in a segment of what he says about Wednesday's game, but it just was not to be. However, thank you very much for watching. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of the week. If your team's playing on Wednesday, good luck. If not, just enjoy it. Stick the Burnley Stoke game on. You might think it's boring because it sounds like it's Burnley, it's Stoke. But it won't be. It'll be exciting. Stoke with a point to prove. Burnley to try and get a win instead of a draw. Thanks very much. Take care. All the best and see you very soon.